This is just something I've been thinking about lately. What would a forest look like if it was the forest that biodegraded New York City? What would a tree or organism look like if it was the tree or organism that is biodegrading 100 stories of concrete, steel, and glass? What would that organism look like fossilized? What would it look like when it's alive? What would it look like as it's dying? What would be left behind of that organism 1,000 years after its death? One of the reasons I don't really agree with our scientific model of dating yet is that I'm pretty sure all the vagaries that have been sort of like they're almost subliminal now. All of those little vagaries are the reason we're missing the point. Now, when I talk about this stuff, I used to love and completely agree with people like Richard Dawkins and Neil deGrasse Tyson and even Bill Nye. Sorry, didn't mean that. Anyways, I used to love listening to their explanations of reality. What I would say if I was to interact with somebody like that comes from the complete rationalism side, look for those things in your world. If you're a geologist or whatever, look for those things in your world, in your explanations that could be. Maybe those scientists are a little bit religious because they've got that one thing that bugs you. Just keep your eyes open for those things. If anybody understands how hard it is to talk to somebody about their religion, it's a scientist, right? Right? You. Understand the position I'm in to try and show it to you. Doctor Who said it best. A footprint doesn't look like a boot. What we are measuring and seeing on this world, a ball we suspect is essentially hardened magma around a central core. Convection is everywhere. We are looking at footprints and we are trying to see boots. Not always. We find whole three-dimensional fossils. We can put together something and we can see that there was a different environment here once. But by and large, everything that isn't natural gets biodegraded here. What if this planet really is completely oblivious of us, doesn't care? That's pretty easy assumption to just agree with, right? The planet isn't consciously aware of us. And it hasn't been consciously aware of any civilizations that came before the ones we have well documented. What if it just terraforms itself? We've made movies that say, well, we're giving the planet a cold, and it's going to fix it one way or the other, whether we like it or not. And I understand that position. But if that's its natural function, what has it terraformed away already? I don't think we know. What would that forest look like? What does it mean that at the same time as I discovered how it is we could fix the world we live in, I also had to let go of what I knew to be religious about my worldview anyway. I could rail at religious people with the best of them. It angered me. I had all the righteousness in my anti-religion that I could possibly ever want. But the key that showed me how we could terraform our world came with belief. I don't think you understand the religious origin of that faith that is, it seems inherent in all of our concepts of progress. It's always there. I don't think I can grasp your ideas anymore entirely without seeing them to some degree like faith. Because everything we're measuring, we've only been measuring for so long. Everything. From carbon decay to everything from the kitchen sink. I mean, we've only been measuring this shit for so long. We only have this set of data. And we can't even actually visualize the molecules yet to know if they're undergoing changes. We suspect we would realize them, but we don't know. And anytime there's this area where we don't know, if we have convinced ourselves that we know the truth, anything we project into these things we don't know, that's your vulnerability. That's your faith. If you take sort of like a you are here, if you listen to David Deutsch's talk, you are here, you are a bit of chemical scum on the surface of this not typical place in the universe. If you take it from my perspective, we are here with a purpose. There is actual work to be done. Our species was designed for a reason. Whether that's third parties and you think it's freaking aliens, whatever. Whether that is actually created by God, okay. Or maybe we did just evolve here, but I have decided that I agree with the idea that idea came before material. In the truest sense, I'm an idealist, in that I deem ideas to be more real than material matter. This is just what I use to interact with my existence right now. I suppose you'd have to be to decide to work on the nature of consciousness. I mean, what else could I be? How would I know? What would that forest look like? Its roots would already have a series of tunnels in place. Those tunnels' purposes, they would be repurposed. It sounds redundant, but I had to clarify it. What does glass, concrete, and steel look like as it's biodegraded by a living organism? What does that organism, what are the characteristics of it? Does climate affect whether it's more mineral or vegetable? More animal? I imagine paleontologists must ask that question, right? I mean, not specific to what concrete and steel and whatever, but they had to have asked that about when you go and uncover these ancient temples, you do take that into consideration, I suppose. Anyways, good. A relatively short one. Thank you for your time.